Disney's latest project. They've agreed to stream the 6-part German-produced series on Disneyplus. The show's name is Pauline. It's produced by the same people who created the Netflix show How to Sell Drugs Online Fast. Don't get me wrong, I'm not encouraging a boycott of Disney. That's for you to decide as parents. But you should let Disney know how you feel.
Welcome to my channel, Outspoken Samantha. I am so glad that you are here. Since you clicked on the video to watch it, I would love it if you would hit that subscribe button as well and just help me to grow this channel. And to those of you that are returning, I truly appreciate your continued support on my channel and would love it if you would make sure that you are subscribed as well. Guys, this is just your daily reminder that if you have not canceled Disneyplus yet and boycotted Disney theme parks and their merchandise and withdrawn all support from all things Disney, it is officially time to do so. Actually, it's past time to do so, but if you have been holding out and hoping they'd reverse course and get back to the family-friendly values and family-friendly messaging and entertainment that they were known for once upon a time, I'm here to let you know it's just not going to happen. The Disney that we used to know is completely gone. Disney as we knew it is a thing of the past, and continuing to give them your money is only fueling their ability and their agenda to force depraved content on to children. Your children in particular, if you are still giving them your money, and it's also enabling them to ignore the requests of their customers to go back to clean content that was free of depraved and destructive ideologies. They don't care what you want. They don't care what we want. They don't care what we stand for. They don't care if we want wholesome entertainment for our kids. But if you give them money, they, as much as the deranged trans activist or morally bankrupt politician or school board member in your area, will shove the most vile concepts down your child's throat, and they won't think twice about it. So I do have to say I really appreciate the individual who messaged this to me on my Facebook page, I believe, and made me aware of it, because I had not heard of this before today, but I do feel that it is important. So the latest giant leap down the destructive and depraved path that Disney has chosen is their decision to release a German horror show on their streaming service called Pauline. Apparently, people were sounding the alarm on this show about a year ago as it came to light that Disney was in talks about the possibility of adding this show to their streaming service. Of course, there have been a lot of other disasters to pay attention to, so this whole thing kind of flew under the radar. Yet, as of May 22nd, 2024, so just a few days ago, the show Pauline was officially released on the Disneyplus streaming service, marketed as a coming-of-age show suitable for teens as an attempt to make content for this age group that is more relatable. However, if you have a teen that can even remotely relate to this storyline, the answer is not to feed them more Disney, but to actually engage them in intense, severe therapy and perhaps heavy medication. So what is the storyline, you ask? Well, I am glad you asked, because let me tell you, there are no words to describe how absolutely vile this is. In this article from June 2023, it says, in April, the Walt Disney Company announced its acquisition of Pauline, a German adult television show that features an 18-year-old impregnated by Satan. Pauline is a typical teenager struggling to balance school with thoughts about crumbling society and the ongoing climate crisis. Things get more complicated when she becomes pregnant after a one-night stand with a boy named Lucas, who just happens to be Satan. Pauline follows the pair's complicated love story. Typical teenager? Really? I mean, if I'm not spending my whole day combing through the countless stories I hear about teenage girls that have a crush on the devil, what am I really doing with my time? Now, the headline of this article I found particularly interesting. It says, Christians riot over new Disney show about a teen impregnated by Satan. First, it's so funny when people try to label those of us on the right as the ones who are rioting, or insist that Christians are the people who are dangerous. And I just have to ask, did anybody see rioting about this show? Because as I said, I think most people didn't even know that it was a possibility that this was going to be made available, because this is the first that I've heard it. So I think if there had been any sort of rioting about it, it would have drawn more attention and we would have heard about it long before, today. It must have just gotten lost in all of the campus riots, the pro-Hamas riots, the trans people storming Capitol buildings across the country in protest of legislation that protects children from being coerced into mutilating their bodies, or the rowdy demonstrations in favor of killing babies in the womb. That must be why we missed all of the headlines telling us about all of the Christians who were attacking police and blocking traffic and harming innocent people over a Disneyplus show about a teenager who's having a child with the devil. Because we all know that the media would have been completely ignoring it had that been a thing that was actually going on. Secondly, can we just say that being against a show about a teen getting pregnant with the devil is not a Christian position? It is a position of a good parent who cares about how their child's mind is shaped and what values are instilled in their foundation as a person before entering into the world as an adult. But of course, if these people can separate this out as solely a Christian position, then they can capture their base on the idea that being a Christian is bad, and therefore agreeing with them makes you bad, and therefore their base feels that they have to accept this to avoid being seen as some kind of bigot. See how they kind of do that? Just don't let them manipulate you like that. This is evil and depraved and psychotic, and you just have to ask yourself as a parent of any belief system, what value does this add to my child's life or their thinking or their mindset? Kids are struggling enough today without intentionally putting this kind of crap on their radar. And I also think that you need to start to reevaluate this whole diversity, equity, inclusion nonsense, and the fact that, this inclusion has been marketed as something to just be accepting and loving to others, and maybe start to think, I don't think that this is really about inclusion anymore. I kind of feel like this is just a word being used to shoehorn the most disgusting ideas into society and normalize things that we were better off not normalizing. Just so completely insane. How have we fallen so far from the Disney movies like Peter Pan and Aladdin, who, by the way, now have trigger warnings at the beginning of these movies to warn people of the potential psychological harm that might come from seeing a kid dressed up like an Indian, or some of the stereotypes portrayed about Arabs. A teenager having a one-night stand with Satan and raising a child with him? Totally fine. How have people become so conditioned to let their guard down and let their morals down and accept that this is the definition of inclusivity, or that these are somehow important messages to instill in our kids that will benefit and uplift them in some way? There's nothing uplifting that comes from stuff like this, and definitely nothing relatable. Like I said, if your teen can relate to this storyline in any way, that is a major problem. And guys, I wish I could include a couple of clips from the show, but anytime I've tried to include anything from a Disney show, I get dinged with copyright things on the video, and it just makes it impossible to get it cleared through YouTube. So you are welcome to go check it out. There's a lot of clips out there and trailers, so you can see what it's about. But I do want to touch on this article that actually was released almost exactly a year ago, and this is probably around the time when people first started talking about this happening. And it does kind of go through some of the points of, how problematic this messaging is, and the fact that this is not harmless to put in front of kids. So the first part of this article just goes over some of the things we've already talked about. It says the family-friendly entertainment organization Movie Guide is sounding the alarm about an upcoming Disneyplus that features a teenage girl's love affair with Satan. The streaming platform has given the green light to start production on a new German original series titled Pauline. According to Deadline, the series follows an 18-year-old girl who becomes pregnant after a one-night stand with the devil. The series creators, who are behind Netflix's How to Sell Drugs Online Fast, say the project is very close to their hearts. Quote, "For a long time, the series has been and still remains a project very close to our hearts. We're thrilled that Disney Plus loves this coming-of-age story as much as we do, and that we've now been able to begin filming with such an amazing cast and crew. Lately, Disney's coming-of-age films have been out of touch with what parents want their kids to watch. They often push content with themes around witchcraft, sex, and violence." From Movie Guide chairman and founder Ted Baer, he says, "We can't let this twisted and disturbing content corrupt our children's values and beliefs. Let me be clear, Pauline is not just another piece of entertainment," Baer added. "Horrifically, this series even portrays Satan as a romantic partner. By normalizing and promoting such a relationship, Pauline sends a dangerous message to young viewers that associating with demons, Satan, and evil is acceptable and even desirable. If released, there will be millions of young viewers who may perceive this twisted and disturbing story as desirable and exciting. The show's attempt to normalize and even promote demonic association is a blatant attempt to blur the lines of morality and make evil desirable." Again, if you have ever needed a reason to cancel Disney Plus and wave goodbye to Disney forever, I don't know what other reason to give you. This is only going to get worse. They clearly have no intention of going back to the kind of movies and values that you and I grew up with. That Disney is gone. It does not exist anymore. To hear all of your thoughts on this in the comments below, please like this video, share it with someone that you think actually needs to know about this, because I don't know about you guys, I have a lot of friends that still support Disney, and while I don't want to harp on people and tell them what to do, I think that we just need to continue to make people aware of what is actually happening and perhaps at least give them what they need to make an informed decision, because I think a lot of people still have no idea what's going on. Thanks for being here, guys. Keep it real, and I will see you in the next one. Bye.